So great to have you on one of my first live videos. So you are my guinea pig today,
Yay.
and I appreciate you being here. So let's talk today a little bit about, we can talk about mindfulness, we can talk about mindful eating, but tell me a little bit about what brought you to well, tell us first what you do. What do you do and how do you do it? And then I would love to hear how you came to do that. So,
Yeah, sure. First of all, Jodi, it's so great to connect with you. So Jodi and I have actually been friends on Facebook for almost like 2 years now, and we realized how much we have in common. And when I found out that she was launching her book, Mindful is the New Skinny, I was like, oh, we should definitely chat because I've written a book as well, and we're both in the trenches together, sharing our message with the world. So I'm an eating psychology coach and body image mentor, author, speaker. And I just really help women and men heal their often fraught relationship with food and with their bodies. And I do that through mindfulness techniques, stress reduction, embodiment, mindful and intuitive eating, and also looking at the root cause of any disordered eating, including trauma, early childhood trauma, other life events that have played a role in one's relationship with food. So I've been doing this for about almost 3 years, and I absolutely love it. Before that, I was a health educator at a national health and weight management company, which was great, but I felt really called to do a more deeper work, really digging into the psychological reasons why people overeat or binge eat or emotionally eat. And so it led me on a path to becoming a graduate of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, which is a remarkable program that really, it was like, when I saw it, I'm like, this really exists. Like, this is perfect for me. And I have to say that when I gave up my own quest, my dieting days, after being a chronic dieter for pretty much my whole life, I found a peace and a freedom that I didn't really even know was there. And so it really propelled me to want to help other people to do the same, because there's no way I would have been able to write a book or start a business if I was still obsessively counting every calorie and exercising 2 hours a day and restricting my calories so much. So I just love what you do because, you really focus on mindfulness too, as it relates to stress reduction and how to eat and weight and all that stuff too. So
yeah, I mean, well, I definitely think that we are trained in our culture and our society to diet by restricting our calories, and that causes a lot of stress for people because as soon as they hear the word dieting, the cortisol level goes up, right? And
yes.
we start to stress and we think deprivation. And there's a lot of problems that go along with knowing that you're not going to be able to eat certain foods. It kind of puts a charge to those foods. And when we restrict them, ultimately what happens next after we do our restricting for a certain amount of time, eventually the willpower kind of gets, run through, I guess. We exhaust our willpower and we start to overeat. And we swing from restriction to overeating, and then we're going to start a diet again on Monday, restricting, and then we go back to overeating, and then it is the Last Supper, right? Like when we're going to go on a diet Monday, so we're going to eat every single thing that we can, and then start again on Monday.
Right.
So what I think we both teach people is this mindful way of eating, paying attention every single day to what you're putting in your mouth, when you're putting it in your mouth, how you're putting it in your mouth, and it becomes more natural. I know that sounds like a very time-consuming thing, but I think weighing your food and counting every calorie is also very time-consuming. But this is really just paying attention. That's what mindfulness is, paying attention. So in this respect, we're paying attention to what we're eating, and we are tasting our food and chewing our food and enjoying our food. So if we do have a dessert or, something that we shouldn't have, we eat it slowly and we fully enjoy it and we taste it, and we don't eat it unconsciously and we don't eat it mindlessly, and we we can fully enjoy and change our relationship with food.
Absolutely. Everything that you're saying, I'm like, because this is what I, do every single day working with clients, is like helping people to discover that they have all of this intrinsic wisdom already. They know exactly how, everyone knows exactly how to nourish themselves, but we've just over the years like lost touch with those signals and cues that our bodies are constantly giving us because we're so distracted in our everyday lives. And we're such an output society, right? So like every shiny object, every little thing, we're just distracted, so that we end up multitasking while we eat. We eat when we're driving, we eat when we're watching TV, we eat standing up. And then you also brought up the whole morality and shame piece of it, where if our lives are filled with shame about our food decisions, and then that shame and morality is attributed to us, then how can we possibly feel any relaxation around food? Right? So this food is good and this food is bad. And so if I choose to eat that food, which is bad, what does that say about me? And it's very,
and then
very
the whole negative self-talk comes into play, beating ourselves up, loathing ourselves really for eating. I mean, which is crazy when you think about it. I was good today. I was bad today. I mean, this is how we talk to ourselves. And then this shame cycle begins. And what ends up happening is that we punish ourselves with eating more food, right? I mean, the cycle just continues, and we eat and we feel bad about it. And we're like, oh, I messed up anyway, so I'm just going to keep going. Instead of we eat something, we finish it, we move on, and the next day we just start again without all of that negative thoughts and self-hatred and beating ourselves up. We need to be kinder to ourselves, not more critical of ourselves. So mindfulness, what I teach to people is how do I work with that programming that I've had since forever? How do I break out of that negative thought cycle or that thought pattern? How do I break free of that? And basically, through an awareness is really how we do it, by becoming aware of the thoughts that are going through your head, and saying, oh, wow, I'm noticing I'm being very critical to myself. We are observing the thoughts in that moment. Right. Instead of connecting and following the thought and stressing about the thought, we're like, look what I'm doing it again. And then calling it maybe a story, like the I'm beating myself up story. And then every time you do it, you notice it, you interrupt it, and you refocus on what you're doing in the moment, or what you're eating, or what you're, or your kid's soccer game, or whatever you're doing in that moment. Because when we're present, our thoughts aren't all over this place, causing us anxiety and causing us depression and beating ourselves up and all the other crazy things that our minds do, right?
Our monkey minds. I know, it's true. It's everything that you're saying makes so much sense. And it's so true. Like, not only the thoughts that just come naturally because they've been conditioned at such an early age and internalized, but then also the judgments that we place on those thoughts and the meaning that we subscribe to those thoughts can be really damaging to us, because we need to bring inquiry to see if this is true. And maybe it used to be true, but maybe it's not true anymore. Maybe you can be around cookies and not overeat. That's a story that you've been telling yourself for so long, that food all of a sudden becomes so like charged. Yeah. And like what I like trying to help people do is to like detach from all the stories that they've kind of built up in their minds. If I eat this cookie, I will eat the whole thing.
Right. And that's what I think. Right. Exactly. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's exactly what I hear from friends and clients all the time. But Jodi, you don't understand. I can't just eat like you, have one or two cookies. I can't do it. I'm not like you. I need, this, or I can't eat sugar ever. I just can't. I can't be, and I think that's what we try to do, right, Jenny? Like moderate this and work around this and try to get people to have a healthy relationship with food, so it's not such a charge. I can't, right? Changing that story, as you said.
Absolutely. And it also has to do with the fear. I mean, if we're really going to bring it to the core, it's about the fear of weight gain. It's about the fear of being in a larger body, which society has deemed as the worst thing ever. And so we have to like figure out how to control our appetites, control when we eat, how many bites, you know, all the types of foods that we eat. And it's making us crazy because we're losing touch with our own trust, our own body trust. So like if I used to get hungry at like 4:00 and I'd be like, well, it's only 4:00. I can't have dinner now. I'm going to have to wait till 2 hours. And that's just so rude to my body. Like, oh, you know, I'm sorry. You don't know. I know better than you. It's only 4:00. So I'm going to have to suffer here and be hungry for 2 hours. Just
Right.
ridiculous. Like my body is clearly telling me something. Why don't we respect that? Because we hear all this external noise. Don't eat this. Do eat this. Don't eat after 6. Yes, have carbs. Don't have carbs. Have fat. Don't have fat. That we're like driving ourselves crazy. We have no idea what to eat. And people are losing that communication and trust.
Right. We have that natural intuitive ability. And it's like we completely lost when we feel hungry and when we feel full. And I think that is the core of mindful eating, like to eat when you're hungry and to stop when you're full. And it seems so simple, yet people have such a difficult time with that. Because we just, you know, we're manipulating our food so much we don't even realize. You know, I think one of the common things that I hear all the time is, I was so good for breakfast. I was so good for lunch, meaning they ate very, very minimal calories. So, you know, they're banking their calories for later so they can pig out at an event or something. And, you know, I understand that whole calorie, you know, that whole calorie adjustment. And maybe people will lose weight short term doing that, manipulating their calories. But how long can you do that for? And is that really sustainable? And do you want to live like that, more importantly? Like I hear about it and I'm just like, if I had to live like that, I would die, you know? And it's really stressful, but people get desperate. I mean, they are desperate to lose weight. They will do anything to do that. And it's very sad. So I think that if we can just go back to our intuition and maybe just eat to nourish ourselves instead of being so attached to that number on the scale and being so attached. I write about this client I had in the introduction of my book. That she came to me and was like, I'm going to Orange Theory. I'm doing all the calorie stuff and I cannot lose weight. I can't lose any pounds. And I really just spoke to her, well, what else is going on in your life? And how does it make you feel when you can't lose weight like that? She's like, well, it makes me want to give up. So then maybe she'll stop doing all of those good things for herself and just go back in a cycle of overeating. And, you know, she had all these other things that were stressful in her life. And when you have stress, the cortisol's going and she couldn't lose the weight, even though she thought she was doing all the right things. But when she was able to detach from doing it for weight loss and just doing it to feel good and for herself, honest to God, she lost 2 or 3 pounds like that week. It was crazy. Yeah. You know, it's a mindset shift. And I think we really need to change how we think about this whole weight loss, you know, issue in our minds.
Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like that's how aligned I feel with you, because like, yes, like I have clients who said the exact same thing. And you know what? That was my history too. Like I was so angry at my body. Like, why can't I lose weight? What do I have to do? Like eat a lemon and sniff some broccoli and call it a day and like not eat anything. And I would be so frustrated. And it's like, you know, that's what's causing the problem is all the stress hormones swirling around, causing increase in fat deposits, decrease in muscle mass, decrease in thyroid functioning, all these different things, inflammation in our bodies. Sometimes even just removing the morality can have us in a relaxation, like, you know, like
I know.
Finally I can just exhale, and then your body can sometimes release weight naturally. Without
well, stress causes belly fat, right? Because when our bodies are stressed, you know, it has to, all the digestive and the digestion really takes a back seat to all the crisis that's going on in our body.
Yep.
And, you know, the digestion slows down because our body is so focused on other stressful, calming down, you know, the emergency, the fight or flight.
Exactly. Like you're not, like if you're running from a bear, your body doesn't care about digesting the Fruit Loops you just had or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, you have to everything goes to your extremities and your brain so you can think fast and move fast. So it makes perfect sense. Like I often tell people, like imagine you just got a massage, like, and you're on the massage table, there's soft music playing, there's maybe like aromatherapy, you're completely relaxed. Are you going to want to like rip open a bag of Doritos after a massage like that?
Right.
No, you're going to be relaxed and you're going to probably make choices that are concurrent with that state
Right.
of being, right? That's
Exactly.
going to be all
And
that
when you
matters.
really love and nourish yourself, you want to feed it good, healthy foods. You don't want to sabotage it with garbage because you respect yourself and
Yeah.
you love yourself. And it's, your body is a temple and food is the fuel that you use to make it run. And if you're active and working out, you're not going to want to eat garbage.
Mhm.
You really eat the garbage and the sugar when you're feeling not so great about yourself. And
Yeah.
that's where emotional eating comes into play and all that stuff. So, Jenny, I think the work you're doing is amazing.
Thank
And
you.
we are so in alignment. And I just feel if people would just listen to their bodies and throw out the fad diets already and just eat to nourish without all the attachments of I must lose weight, that desperate feeling that causes so much stress in the body, they might be surprised at what happens.
I agree. I mean, I'm so glad we both are, putting out that message to the world. There needs to be more people like us writing books and helping clients and like, changing this conversation and making it more about that, because that's where the transformation really is moving from
Yes.
the outcome based mentality to the process and the joy that can be just in the process.
Right. We're losing our joy of food, right? Food is
Mhm.
becoming the enemy or something to be avoided instead of nourishing.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for coming and speaking to me today.
Thank you.
And tell us where to find you, Jenny, if people want to follow you or, Facebook, Instagram, your book. Just tell people where they
So
can
my
read you.
book is called The Body Image Blueprint, and it's available on Amazon and Kindle. You can also reach me on my website. You can come to my website. It's www.jennyedencoaching.com. And then finally, my Wellness Warriors Facebook group. You could just look for the search bar, and I'd love to have you in there too.
Yes, that I loved your Wellness Warrior Facebook group. I'm in that, and I get lots of good tips and information from there. So look her up, and it was great talking to you. And
Great talking to you too.
we'll talk again soon.
Yeah. Good
Thank,
luck with your book.
thank you.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.